Right now, the minds of so many investors and tech enthusiasts are completely captivated by one massive question. Where is artificial intelligence going to strike next? I mean, we've watched it absolutely revolutionize the IT sector, right? It's completely transformed semiconductor manufacturing. But what's the next frontier? Well, welcome to this explainer, because the answer to that question lies directly in biotechnology. We are looking at a tectonic shift in medicine, and today we're going to break down exactly how generative AI is shifting from silicon to biology, and in the process, completely dismantling Big Pharma's long-standing monopolies. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. AI and biological constructors. 2. IT giants enter pharmacology. 3. Big Pharma's exclusivity economy. 4. The end of monopolies. 5. Drug commoditization and prices. And finally, 6. Investment reality. 2 phases. Section 1. AI and biological constructors. The mechanics of the breakthrough. Let's just jump right in. Before we can truly grasp the economic disruption here, we really have to look at the underlying mechanics of this breakthrough. And don't worry, you absolutely do not need a PhD in molecular biology for this. We just need to look at how drugs work at a microscopic level. Think of pharmacology as a giant puzzle. Proteins are basically a universal set of parts in a highly complex biological constructor. Whether it's in the human body, a virus, or a bacteria, the way a protein chain folds in 3D space dictates its exact job. It determines if it's going to break down food, carry oxygen, or act as a receptor that lets a disease slip into a cell. If a biological part is broken, fixing it requires finding the absolute perfect molecular key to fit that specific receptor lock. For decades, traditional drug discovery has basically been a blind search. Researchers would spend years in massive physical labs doing manual sorting, testing thousands upon thousands of variants. It was relentless trial and error. Actually, it's more like trying to find a needle in a haystack while blindfolded. Contrast that with the new paradigm, engineering design. Generative AI operates on the exact same principles as an AI that draws a picture from your text prompt, but instead of pixels, it brilliantly operates on atoms. Scientists simply input the target parameters into the neural network, basically saying, hey, I need a molecule shaped exactly like this to block a cancer receptor, and the AI instantly outputs a ready-made blueprint. And this brings us to something absolutely wild: de novo proteins. The AI isn't just mixing and matching existing biology. It has the incredible ability to engineer molecules entirely from scratch. We are talking about proteins that have never existed in nature throughout the entire history of evolution. It is a total leap from blind searching to true deliberate molecular engineering. In Section 2, IT giants enter pharmacology, Silicon Valley's invasion. When a problem shifts from test tubes and chemistry vats to pure algorithmic processing, the tech giants are right there, claiming territory in this new biological landscape. There's a stark dividing line between these two eras. Traditional pharma requires massive physical labs, a huge footprint, and incredibly high barriers to entry. But the new AI-first pharma is purely algorithmic. Take Alphabet, Google's parent company, for example. Their DeepMind division created AlphaFold 3, opening up protein modeling to the scientific community in a way we've literally never seen before. On the commercial side, Alphabet launched Isomorphic Labs. They don't have giant chemical vats, they have algorithms. Using closed systems like IsoDDH, which models molecular bonds with double the accuracy of basic versions, they've drastically lowered the barrier to entry, cutting discovery times from years down to just weeks. The crucial point here is that Silicon Valley is now taking the absolute highest margin part of drug discovery, the actual design of the working molecule. The exclusive right to medical knowledge is completely shifting. I mean, traditional pharmaceutical giants like Eli Lilly and Novartis are now actually signing massive contracts to buy these digital blueprints straight from tech architects. Section 3. Big Pharma's exclusivity economy, the golden age of uniqueness. Let's see how this new technology builds against the current pharmaceutical establishment. To understand the disruption, you've got to understand the massive friction of their current model. 10 to 15 years and billions of dollars. And the worst part? Out of every 10 drugs developed, 9 will fail during agonizingly slow and expensive clinical trials. The amount of capital required just to play the game has traditionally kept competitors away. But if a pharmaceutical company does manage to cross that finish line, the reward is absolutely staggering. A successful patent grants a legal monopoly on saving lives in a narrow medical segment. Because there are physically no analogs on the market for that specific 15-year miracle molecule, the developer gets to dictate the price. That absolute uniqueness is what ensures their phenomenal profit margins and drives their stocks to historic highs. Which leads us to the ultimate question, right? What happens to this incredibly lucrative, perfect monopoly once generative AI becomes an everyday tool for all major players? Section 4, the end of monopolies, bypassing the patent moat. The broader market is currently completely blind to AI's true disruptive power against patents. We're witnessing a massive paradigm shift. Let's break down exactly how simple this bypass mechanism really is. Imagine a competitor launches a blockbuster drug. Step 1. Identify the target receptor or protein that the drug acts upon. Step 2. Input those exact biological parameters into a neural network. Step 3. The AI generates an alternative, legally clean molecule with the exact same biological function. It has a different chemical structure, which means it completely bypasses the original patent. What used to be an insurmountable patent moat taking years to navigate can now be legally bypassed in mere weeks. The reality is that AI will be able to, and I quote, practically spam the market with similar blueprints for alternative drugs. Uniqueness is going to disappear from the investor vocabulary. Very soon, every major corporation won't just have one specialty. They will all suddenly possess a full AI-generated spectrum of drugs for cancer, obesity, and diabetes. The era of biological exclusivity is completely over. Section 5, Drug Commoditization and Prices, the Consumer Triumph. Because this technological miracle, it's an extreme double-edged sword. We are looking at the total elimination of unique, monopolized drugs. When an insurance company or a state healthcare system suddenly sees 5 to 10 identical in-function drugs hit the table at the exact same time, supply and demand takes over. Fierce price wars will erupt. Manufacturers will have to heavily discount and dump their products just to get included in insurance protocols. For patients, this is a massive triumph. It means highly accessible, drastically cheaper healthcare. But for investors, it is an absolute nightmare of shrinking profit margins for pharmaceutical corporations. The stark reality is that drug creation will become a standard industrial process with moderate margins. Think about the commoditization of steel or basic chemicals. Decades ago, those were high-tech, high-margin innovations. Now, they're just a high-volume, commoditized routine. High-tech drug discovery is on that exact same trajectory, and the margins will flatten accordingly. Section 6, Investment Reality, 2 Phases, Navigating the Boom and Bust. So, how do you navigate this fundamentally shifting landscape? Let's map out the inevitable 2-phase timeline for the stock market based on these fundamentals, because there is a massive difference between what's happening now and what is inevitably coming. Right now, we're sitting at the dawn of phase 1, euphoria. We are going to see massive hype, irrational growth, and capital flooding into biotech, all fueled by the blind belief that lowering research costs will magically create infinite profits for these companies. But then comes phase 2, practical reality. This is the inevitable crash when hundreds of these AI-generated drugs successfully pass trials and hit the pharmacy shelves simultaneously. The result will be extreme market competition, severe overproduction, falling drug prices, and collapsing margins. Lower development costs mean absolutely nothing if you have to practically give the drug away in a massive price war. Which leaves us with this final provocative question to conclude our explainer. Will you recognize when healthy optimism turns into a blind bubble before AI price wars destroy Big Pharma's monopolies? Because remember, disruptive technology often completely transforms old corporate business models, ultimately heavily benefiting the end consumer rather than corporate capitalization. The biotech revolution is absolutely here, and it is going to save lives by dropping healthcare costs. But if you're an investor, you must approach this with a very cool head. Thanks so much for joining me today to break this all down, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.